Something else we can do in MySQL is we can join a table to itself. Now, this is something we don't often have to do, but there are instances where it is useful. And unfortunately, our databases don't actually give us a good indication of a place where we would use it. So we're going to go ahead and walk through the process, and we're going to do so in a way that honestly wouldn't actually be needed, but it will illustrate the process of how it does work. Now, before I do this, let me give you an example of a place that it might come into play. Let's say we had a table of employees, and in this table we listed all employees and we gave them each an employee ID, and then we identified their manager also by an employee ID. Well, we could then do a self-join to that table so we could display the employee with their manager information side by side. But let me show you how this works. We're going to do this here, and we're going to do a self-join on the country table. And basically what it means is we're going to reference this table twice. And in order for this to work, we're going to have to give it aliases. But that's not going to be a problem. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create a self-join, and we're going to display information from basically two different references to the same table. So here's how this is going to work. I am going to select, let's do f dot country. Whoops. All right, give me the right thing. F dot name, so the country name, and F dot GNP and F dot GNP old. And then I want to do S dot government form. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create two references to that country table, one named F for first, one named S for second. So I'm going to do this from country as F and country, spell this right, country as S. That's what I want. All right, and I want to do this. I want to look at only countries where their gross national product is greater than, now is greater than their old gross national product. So I'm going to do where f.gnp is greater than f.gnp old. Now this isn't actually correct. So when we run it, we're going to see that we made a mess of things. So we have the non-metropolitan territory of the Netherlands as our government form on every single one of them. Well, the reason we did that is because our criteria was tied entirely to that first reference of the government table. So, or the country table. So when we go to pull the corresponding information from the second instance of the government table, it just pulled the first one every single time. So we're going to add a connection here, and f dot code equals s dot code. And now that we're creating a relationship or a connection between our first and second instances of the country table, it works just fine. And here are all of the countries in the world that had a GNP greater than their old GNP. Let's flip it around. Let's look at ones where the economy actually shrunk. So we're going to go that way and look at old GNP. So let's execute this one. And we're going to see now we have countries that had an old GNP of greater than their new GNP. And the type of government form that came with it, or that, not that came with it, but the type of government form that country has. So there we go. We have created a self-join, or we've joined that table back to itself. Now, this is not a big deal if you just think of them as two separate tables. Think of them as two separate tables and gather the information that you want from each one. And like I said at the beginning, this isn't something that we'll do a whole lot, but there are some places where it is really, really, really helpful. And if I had an actual good example in one of the sample databases, I would show it to you. I thought about creating something, but then you wouldn't have it, so it really wouldn't help. So This, at least you can follow along with and you can see how it works. Even if it's not a practical application, you can see how it works. So hopefully when the time comes for you to do a practical application, you'll be comfortable with how it works.